I don't talk about my disabilities very much, but I do have sciatica, which is a lower back nerve pain, chronic pain, as in everyday pain, and also just a lieu of things with my head, right? CPTSD is just really, hey, here's a menu of possible symptoms that could include anxiety, depression, etc., etc. I think that anxiety and excitement are like the same person with a different mask, right? And so if you learn how to transmute your anxiety into excitement, then you're able to get a lot farther in life. What does that have to do with the beginning of this video? I don't know. I'm just emptying my brain. I'm emptying my brain. Today I went to Creative Morning San Diego and I cried. I ugly cried because they were talking about cancer, and it was breast cancer, and I'm a survivor, so it's not the same kind of cancer, but cancer is cancer nonetheless. And when you are afraid you're gonna lose your life, suddenly it becomes a lot more valuable. At least that's the effect that it had on me. And so I wake up every day now, and sometimes I forget that I even had cancer, even though today specifically I had a remission follow-up. So I went from having a mental breakdown at a very public event to getting a needle stuck in my arm for an IV, which I'm rather sure she prepared incorrectly because I have a bruise now right there. And it was bleeding longer than it needed to be bleeding. I survived a terminal illness. And sometimes I forget that I survived a terminal illness because so much of my time goes into deciphering human interactions, because I was so certain everyone meant well for me until I met my ex. I can't get too loud about that because my son is in the other room and it's time for me to get him ready for bed. I am blessed to be alive every day that I wake up. So yes, shit happens, and yes, I am emotional and sensitive. And yes, sometimes I walk outside and I look like I wish somebody would. And sometimes that is also correct. And every time I make a 180 and walk away. Because ain't nobody worth my freedom. Nobody's worth my freedom at all. So then I went and I got an MRI. And after the MRI, I went to pick up, and I picked my son up on time. And then we came home, and then we ate. I called the VA, and I got some business handled with the VA. Then we went to the block club. I think I'm saying that correctly. And I found that place through someone that I met who has a non-profit for children. It's called the Park Takeover, and the kids go and take over the park in San Diego. A park, different parts at different times. They have food distributions for fruits and vegetables, different things for different times. Whatever is left from this, I think it's a church donations. Whatever they don't donate, they donate to the Park Takeover. The Park Takeover then distributes it at a park. That's my neck. I needed verbal processing. I love free things. Free things are my favorite things. I love free things, and nothing in life is free. So I help when and where and how I can. Just not always monetarily. Oftentimes it's not. I am learning what piece of the grand puzzle it is that I am. In this moment, My piece of the puzzle is to raise a biracial child who's in the other room, who oftentimes doesn't even realize the amount of privilege she lives in. And while that's not the goal, I do feel as though it kind of is the goal, isn't it? For them to live a life that we did. Isn't that the point? For them to not get it. And I came to that conclusion because I'm where I am because of my parents, and they don't get it. Because, you know, double-edged sword, the good and the bad. Made it here and then crashed. Nevertheless, still here, still going, strong, got muscles. But the most important muscle that I have developed, 555, over the last 3 years is this one. Because yesterday morning, I had a mental breakdown because my son said that he couldn't step on his foot and he was just collapsing to the ground very dramatically, if I might say so myself. Then we had a conversation. He rested, the pain subsided. We didn't go to the hospital. I did have a freak out. I did call the school. I did coordinate with his dad. I did make plans for future potential needs for healthcare. Did it hurt? Yeah. Did I still do it? Yeah. Did I also still do it with less, if any, of my little coping mechanisms? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And so I don't measure myself against anyone else because where you are is not my business. And I learned from a wise person somewhere at some point that you can't measure your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. So I go around and I look at the chapter and I love things for you. And if I realize that it's a chapter that I've looked through, that it seems like you're enjoying or not minding being in, but I know I don't belong in, I will gracefully walk away. For both of us. It's a kindness. I am working on stream of consciousness because there's so much information in my head that I have headaches. And that slows me down. It's counterproductive. I'm gonna put the thoughts into the void. No subtitles. If you're still here, cool. I love you. I hope something I said resonated. I went from not having the capacity to brush my teeth in the morning to going to a public event and having a crash out, subsequently followed by an MRI, subsequently followed by school pickup, which is triggering in and of itself for its own reasons. And then I went back outside on purpose. I see why my ex didn't want me outside. Y'all like me out there. Y'all like me.